Another thing to consider is, what was your emotional and stress state at the time? I can tell you from personal experience, when your body and you are in a state of emotional turmoil where you're going through something stressful, like a divorce, things that happen to your body, injuries, they tend to be harder to unwind because of the state of your nervous system at the time. Let's say that you're a ball of stress, so everything's already like tightly gripped, and then you have an accident. Your body is not in a state where it's going to be able to immediately engage in a healing process. It's already really sympathetic. Sympathetic meaning that the fight or flight state is active in your body, which is not a state in which the body can effectively heal, and where everything's going to be just a little bit more guarded and protected, like you're trying to run away or protect yourself. So if you're in a fight or flight sympathetic nervous system state at the time of an injury, that will definitely make it more significant and more likely that it's still impacting you today. And if I think about almost all the injuries I've ever had, they've been when I've been in a really highly agitated sympathetic state. And a big part of my healing process was unwinding that state first and then doing the healing work on my body to get the mechanics sorted out. Another thing to consider, if we're looking at the significance of that ankle sprain, is, did it cause you or require you to have to stop your regular activities for about a week or more, even a few days? If yes, then it's probably a significant accident or injury. The number of times, I know I'm telling a lot of stories about me, but the number of times that I've had an accident and I had to stop dancing or jogging or whatever it was for a few weeks, but then didn't even consider that that was a problem. Like, oh yeah, it's fine, I just couldn't breathe for a few weeks. Literally, that happened to me. But I thought it was okay. And going back in time looking at that, it wasn't okay. That was kind of a significant injury that I had, and I should have taken it more seriously. But we can still do it today. So that's what we're here for. Next, consider, did you get appropriate rehabilitation, or did you give it the care that it needed at the time? I asked this to a client of mine about her knee the other day, because she's had some long-standing knee problems, and it's definitely causing her some problems elsewhere in her body. We did a little test to find out. And I asked her, do you consider that the care that your knee received at the time to be effective? And she had to stop and think about it. She was like, I never thought about that. But now that you ask, no. She received rehabilitation. She went to physio, and she thought that that was good. But it turns out, upon reflecting, actually, now knowing what she does today about a healing process and what it takes, no, she did not receive the proper care for it. So even if you went to physio for 5 years for a thing, was that 5 years of physio effective? Really be honest about that. Because if it's still a problem bugging you today, it was not. Maybe it was a stepping stone, but in itself, it was not complete care. Next, I want you to consider, did you personally take the injury seriously? And did authority figures in your life take it seriously? For me, I took 0% of my injuries seriously. I just was like, yeah, that's not going to slow me down. Keep going, no pain, no gain. Push through it. It's fine. I can heal. I'm young. I'm good. I'm fine. It's okay. So I didn't take it seriously. If you found yourself saying these words, I'm okay, I'm fine, don't worry about me, I can speak, I can still move, I can still walk, it's not that bad, I'm still alive. If any of those things is something you've been saying or have said, then you didn't take it seriously. And if an authority figure in your life didn't take it seriously, but you did, that's also possible. We live in this system medically where a lot of our problems, we really have to fight to advocate for the seriousness of them. The number of people that I've heard stories of who have gone through standard medical care and their symptoms have been dismissed as either it's all in your head, or it's not that serious, or there's nothing wrong on the imaging, so there's nothing wrong, like I don't know why you're feeling pain. We know that just because there's nothing objective on imaging or scans that show there's something wrong, that doesn't mean that there isn't something you can do about it. Doctors just don't necessarily have movement training. So we need to consider, did you take it seriously? Did an authority figure take it seriously? Was it dismissed as not being important? And lastly, do you have any, or did any new symptoms that seem to come from nowhere crop up even years after that injury that you cannot trace? So for my guy with the hand problem, he couldn't trace anything back to that hand problem. He's like, I have no idea where it came from. But he did have a number of prior injuries that were no longer bugging him. So could it be that an issue that came up for you, like a symptom in your neck, for example, that you don't know why it's happening, could it be that that popped up a few years after you sprained your ankle? Could it be that there's a connection there? We're going to look at that today. So if you don't know the answer, these are just questions to jog your memory, to help you to consider whether or not you took that ankle sprain seriously enough at the time